Wife wanted a fire pit for her birthday before the cold weather got here, so we are gonna build it. And so I'm gonna walk you through how to build an easy fire pit. This is the fire pit that came with the house, but that is not the style nor the quality of the stuff that my wife likes, so we're gonna build a nice one. We ordered this on Amazon, and we're gonna take it apart and put it together here and then move it out into the yard. I've seen some difficult DIY fire pit builds with paver bases and all the paver bells and whistles. Honestly, I just wanted an easy and cheap fire pit project, so this Sunny Days fire pit ring was literally the easiest thing I've ever built that came in a box. The fire pit ring itself was only 4 pieces. Each piece was assembled with 2 bolts, 2 kids, and without reading the directions. I put a link in the description for the Sunny Days fire pit ring we ordered from Amazon. When you compare and add the cost of the stones and the fire pit ring, it still comes in cheaper than most of the standalone outdoor fire pits you can buy, and the final product actually looks better. So we built a lot of stuff in this house, and that was literally the easiest thing we've ever built that came in a box in pieces, so that's one good point for getting that. After assembling the fire pit ring, the next thing you want to do is make sure you're far enough from all your structures. The last thing you want is to build a fire too close to your house and watch it all go up in a raging blaze. So for this, make sure you follow all your local and state ordinances as well as a little bit of common sense. Once you have a location, set your ring down in position on the grass and then place your first row of blocks around it. This will be your outline of where you will remove the grass. So we got around, I bought 10 bricks. I thought it would go all the way around, but there's a space left and it won't fit another brick. So I'm gonna have to go get some spacers and put them in between each brick so it still looks good, but it fills up that space. They didn't have spacers at Home Depot, so it's time to bring out the big guns. I got one of these so that I could cut some masonry with this power tool. And then I got some more blocks, and I'm just gonna cut a piece that'll fit in there. So let's see how it goes. All the stones are slightly different in size, so if you're selective with your stones and placements and work the stone row like a puzzle, you can probably get away with a close fit and not needing a grinder. I wanted a perfect fit because I'm weird like that and I hate puzzles, so I just cut the stone with a grinder and a masonry blade. These stones are thick, so you may need to cut out one side and flip it over to cut the rest. When making your cut, it doesn't need to be perfect, but measure it out and make sure you cut it at an angle so you can get a fairly tight fit. But please be careful. This would be a fine way to lose some fingers and you don't want that. Also, wear eye protection. I went back in and got some after I started. Get your final piece in nice and snug and you've got your first layer done. The next step is to take a shovel or garden tool and make an outline of the perimeter of the bricks. Remove all your materials and then take off the top layer of grass. Pat down the soil a bit and you should have a perfect spot for your base if you're choosing to add a base. At this point, you'll want to spread out your leveling sand for your base. Spread it out and level it with a block of wood and a level. Then place your bricks back around the circle and level them as you go. Add the DIY fire ring that you put together earlier and make sure all the blocks are snug. At this point, you're going to add your second layer of brick pavers. Just rest the lip of the fire pit right on top of a few pavers while you add the rest of them around the second layer. Be sure to offset them from the first layer so the cracks are alternating and not right on top of each other. This will add stability and it will make it look nice and normal for the wife. Repeat the process for the third layer of brick pavers and you're almost done. If you're doing a base, it's super simple. The next step, I forgot to videotape, but for the second layer of the base, just pour out your small stones in the bottom of your fire pit right on top of the sand and then level them with your hand. Lastly, add your lava rocks. We use 2 bags for this size of fire pit and spread them around by hand as well. Then wipe down any dust and debris, clean up around the fire pit, add your chairs, and you are ready for a hot dog and s'mores party. As I said earlier, if you want to keep it a super cheap DIY fire pit build, you could always leave out the sand and rocks and just use the dirt as the base to your fire pit. Honestly, you could even build it right on top of the grass and not do any of the hard labor. I'm not sure how this would work out in the long term, but if I did it again, I might try that and just see what happens. If you decide you want to try this DIY fire pit project, it's going to require a few things, so here's what you'll need to do it cheap and easy. The first thing you need is a Sunny Days fire pit ring or fire pit liner, and we got that from Amazon for $149. Second thing is 33 angled garden blocks. We used the Harvest Blend from Home Depot, and altogether they came out to $78.54. And those are really the only two things you'll need if you build it just right on top of the grass. The other stuff you should have around your house: a shovel, a tape measure, 1 bag of leveling sand. I don't know the price. We got that from Home Depot as well, probably about 10 bucks. 1 bag of garden pebbles. That's probably about the same price. 2 bags of lava rocks, probably the same price per bag. Those are just estimates. And then if you're cutting the block, I used a DeWalt grinder with a masonry blade. That's optional and only if you need it. As I said, if you pick out your bricks carefully and put them together like a puzzle, using the small ones and the big ones, you might be able to get away with not cutting anything. A socket set, and that's optional, but that made it a little bit easier to put the fire pit ring together. And then lastly, some chairs. We used plastic Adirondack chairs that we got from Home Depot. They're pretty sturdy, and they were about $20 a piece. So if you're selective with the placement and size of the stones, you won't need the grinder. And with the exception of the Sunny Days fire pit ring itself, which we got on Amazon, everything else was available at the local Home Depots or Lowe's. Most of the basic DIY tools you probably already have in your garage or in your shed. If you got value from this video, please like and subscribe and click on the next video, and I'll see you in the next video.